A bit of a recap, as we mentioned, great racing in the DPI category.
Yeah, it's been a battle royale up front in all the classes. We've had the top 4 cars have been racing it real hard, but this car of Townsend Bell's, his teammate, made a heck of a start past all kinds of guys, went pretty much near the back of his field, right up to the top 4.
Yeah, Montecalvo was amazing on that start.
Close calls coming back onto the high banks for the prototypes. You saw one of the Penske chassis pull right down on the number 10, almost make contact. Ryan Briscoe behind the wheel of 10. Great job avoiding that problem.
Into hour 2. Issues with the right front. Can't get the wheel off.
Then problems for the 31. The Whelen Engineering Cadillac off speed. They came in. What was the problem? Just simply debris had gotten caught on the air intake. That Cadillac engine couldn't get air, couldn't breathe, couldn't go fast.
This was the big moment here in hour 4. Castro Neves turns in, makes contact with the US car. Big wall impact. They get back to the pit lane, and here's Helio's answer to this.
Very emotional there out of Helio Castroneves. Big name getting into the car here. Yeah, that's right. Reigning NASCAR champion Kyle Busch is in this one. Rowdy climbing in behind the wheel. A short stint, though, to start off for him.
Short stint, but when he got out of the car, he put them back on the lead lap, and he was all smiles when he got out. Normally, he's unhappy when he wins, and he had a big grin ear to ear.
Little short tipper right there, but then looking up in the distance, big crash.
Yeah, that was a big one. One of the other cars drafted the Lamborghini right into the pit lane. When he jumped on the brakes, the Aston Martin ran right into the back of that Lamborghini. Big damage to that car.
Hour 6, we look at a restart. Didn't see a lot of those.
From the drop of the green, the Mazda really putting pressure. We've seen that battle up front, and then the bus stop bites again.
It's been difficult, especially for the 7 team in DPI. And you mentioned Corvettes.
Yeah, slight contact. It almost could have taken them out of the race. No damage to that Corvette. Very lucky they didn't knock any bodywork off. They have been battling at the front of GTLM all race long.
A couple guys doing double duty, and I mean racing and broadcasting. Right now you see on the right side of your screen, that's Townsend Bell, and riding along with AJ Allmendinger. They're broadcasting and racing.
I'm sure AJ will have some pretty good stuff to say about that. One car just barely into the tires there. Second caution of the day, 9 hours in, so.
And the restart, we had a spin here.
Ricky Taylor on his own. At first, we thought maybe there was contact, but got in there with just cold tires, got a little wide, car slides out, Taylor off the track, no harm, no foul.
And just moments ago, a pass for the overall lead. 77 in the DPI class gets by the 10. Wayne Taylor Racing 10 entry. So the question, Mazda, can they win an endurance race? Well, right now, they're showing that they've got the strength to get by and lead. And now, just moments ago, we see the Corvettes. One of the Corvette entries behind the wall.
This just happened just now, the first Corvette. This one hasn't been as much of a factor as the number 3. Number 3's been up front, but this is the first hiccup for Corvette. And we're not even halfway through. We've still got 2 hours to go to the halfway point. These cars have been running so fast, Kevin, and the pace has been so high. Is this the start of some mechanical problems for these cars in the field?
Well, that's been the story for Mazda over the years. Will they have any mechanical issues, bad luck, anything else that will keep them from completing and winning an endurance race? They broke through last year with 3 team wins for Mazda Team Yost and Multimatic, and they've been strong all weekend here. The 77 from pole has led about 180 of the 330 laps. This is a double stint right now. No tire change. And back out for Tristan Nunez. And he won't have the lead now, but he'll get it back when everyone else rolls down pit lane. The 77 Mazda team has been strong, Parker.
Right, Kevin, but we just went through that recap there as we approach 10 hours. It has been a titanic battle in the GTLM class. You see the 24 there, the black car getting passed by the other black prototype there. leading the Porsches. Brand new Porsche 911 RSRs chasing down the older BMW M8. It's been an awesome battle watching these guys go at it. And then just tagging along behind them has been the number 3 Corvette C8R, brand new for this season. And obviously, we saw the Ford going behind the wall there. That's one thing that team told me, was that they were worried about the reliability. This is the first time the car's been raced. They knew they had the pace, but reliability was going to be a question mark, Dylan, and that's certainly showing there with the Ford.
And Parker, the story in the GTD division has been that number 9 car, the Pfaff Motorsports Porsche, right now piloted by Zach Robichon. They were second on the last set of stops, leapfrogged the number 48 car that's right there in the picture, second in line. They leapfrogged them through the pit stop sequence. That's big because they had an issue on track in which they slowed and fell out of the top 5. Rick, they've methodically worked back through the field, and now they lead in GTD. Let's go to the Peacock Pit Box in Chris Devoto.
The team gathered around him. Jerome Bleekemolen, one of his co-drivers, a very experienced championship-winning driver, just said, Trenton, I've been there. I've done that. We all have. And if you do this long enough, you too will be a part of it. So shake it off, focus forward, that's behind you, and here they are on the racetrack.
Yeah, it was just something that caught him out in the rain, and it could be an issue if we do get rain. There's a painted line in the brake zone as you transition from the oval onto the road course. There's a yellow line that goes all the way around the racetrack on the oval, and that defines the racetrack in the apron. And when they say in NASCAR, you can't go below that yellow line or you get a penalty for passing. Well, that yellow line is right there, painted black. And if you back up that camera there, you can see that yellow line stops, and it's painted black. Well, in the rain, he came down off the banking there, was on the brakes, hit that black paint, and just immediately lost the rear of the car. It took a hard left and into the inside wall. Rookie mistake, something that caught him out, but you couldn't see the black line because the pavement was wet, which makes it darker, and he was just out there getting used to the car in the rain, was on the brakes hard, hit the paint, and the rear end slid out from underneath him.
Championship caliber driver, and it's the same with any sport. When you have a setback, mentally, you've got to be able to set that behind you and focus forward. And for Trenton Nissep, that's exactly what he's going to have to do. And we've seen him in the car. He's been good. He's been strong. His focus is where it needs to be. Jeremy Dale, his team owner when he ran the IMSA GT3 Cup Series, is here with him this weekend, kind of working with him. And Jeremy, a very talented race car driver in his own right, quote, back in the day, kind of worked with him and just said, hey, let's get this done. Team's back on track, and Trenton's been good.
Yeah, Trenton's just 20 years old, so obviously something like that happens, traumatic for a 20-year-old, and as you mentioned, Bleekemolen, a 38-year-old veteran. Yeah. You know, when you go and you put your arm around a guy and say, all right, kid, I've done it before. Shake it off. We need you.
That's the psychological aspect of any sport. You strike out a few times, you can't be thinking about your strikeout. When you step back up to the plate, you're going to strike out again.
Talking a lot about all these drivers in the race here, but the stars of the race are the cars. The people come here to see these cars, all the different manufacturers, and I can tell you the biggest crowds in front of the garages in the pit lane before the start of the race was around that Corvette. It just had piles of people just staring at that car in amazement. It's the newest, hottest car out there, and everybody is fascinated by it, at least in the American fans.
There you see the 3. Right now, Jordan Taylor behind the wheel of that Corvette, currently 4th in the GTLM class. Scott Dixon, we were riding along with that number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing entry. We look at Jordan Taylor once again. And it's interesting, I talked with Jordan Taylor on Thursday. Jordan Taylor might be one of the funniest social media poster I've ever followed, because he's got a, I don't know what you want to call it, Rodney Sandstorm is an alter ego, maybe, whatever he is. Well, Jordan has a lot of fun with movie clips, with all sorts of different things that he will do on his social media. He's a must follow. He's a lot of fun. But when I sat down to talk to him, I said, Jordan, I'm telling you, I am very entertained. And he was as calm and as dry as I've ever. I thought, my gosh, this can't be the same guy who puts all of this hilarious stuff on social media. He was just dry, calm, and he's like, yeah, I've got to separate myself from, everybody else. So I do things a little different on social media. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, George.
Have you seen his airplane pictures and stories?
Oh, yes.
He's on the airplane. He takes pictures of the passengers that are beside him.
Yeah. Well, he posts some interesting things.
And then writes stories about them.
Yes. Makes up stories about them.
Exactly.
But it is entertaining.
Those are fiction.
I hope so. Ben Keating, the busiest man in Daytona. Ben Keating doing double duty. And when I say that, it's not like A.J. Allmendinger or Townsend Bell who are doing double duty with racing and broadcasting. Ben Keating is actually running in the LMP2 class, and he's running in the GTD class. And he's done it. This is his 5th time.
So you're saying he's actually working, and A.J. and Townsend are not? Is that?
Oh, he's working. He's probably doing the most work if anybody is this weekend.
Yeah,
thank you.
What's his total drive time going to be between the two
Well,
cars?
he has to do 4.5 hours in each one.
Yeah.
And the problem is, if he fails to do that, it's not just no points for him. It affects the entire car that he's in. So he can't disappoint his teammates. So he needs to make sure that he gets those hours in so that both cars get points. And here's the thing, he'll only get points in the car that he's nominated to get them in, but he couldn't be in two more different type of machines. The GTD, AMG, Mercedes.
Yeah, and a prototype being a completely different high downforce car. You're big slide there from the Mercedes. So the Mercedes is a front engine, or a little bit further back from the center line of the front wheels. That motor's pushed back pretty tight to the windshield, but a big, heavy car with a lot of torque. And then you jump in the prototype, and that's almost like an open wheel car nowadays. Big downforce, really stiff. So the two cars are completely different. So you've got to change your driving style from one car to the other, and you've got to get used to passing guys all the time, these GT cars, and then you jump in the GT car, then you've got to be looking in your mirror because they're going to be passing you. So it's a lot going on.
And don't forget, anti-lock brakes and traction control in the GTD car, those don't exist on the LMP2 car. And the brake markers and the braking capability of the car is completely different. If you don't remember where your braking markers are and you get in the GT Daytona car and get confused with one of your braking markers where you're braking in the LMP2 car, you could end up in St. Pete or Tampa.
Yeah, and the speed difference, closing rates, and everything are completely different. As you just saw, one of the prototypes flash by this Mercedes, and that Mercedes was bouncing and bucking and sparking and hitting the ground through the bus stop. Completely different animals.
And I always laugh. We talk about drivers' ratings in this series, and I look at Ben Keating's driver rating. He's rated as a bronze driver. He's 48 years old. He goes platinum, gold, silver, bronze, and I'm like, hang on a second. I've said this before, and I'm not trying to get Ben in trouble. I look